Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on Tuesday night, and you know what that means. We're ready to head back once again into Battle World. We got Kill with me, Eric, and of course, Coriander. Guys, we do this quite often, and I have no issue with it whatsoever. But we're going back to the 80s, bro. And and tonight, it's a fight by the full moon. That's what it is. For you guys, for you guys in the chat, we appreciate you guys being here, and thank you very much. And we got Gina in the house, and Gina, wow, Gina started off gifting a membership right off the bat.
Awesome.
Wow, Gina, thank you so much.
For you.
We appreciate that. It's very kind and generous of you. It really is. And even more generous, it looks as though she was saying won't be able to get to the live stream, but we'll watch the replay. This will be interesting. Love you guys. And snuggles from Ziggy the puppy. All right.
Oh,
Thank you.
nice.
Gina, when you watch this replay, seriously, thank you so much for everything. Seriously. And
Give
hope you enjoy the
Ziggy love,
replay.
man.
That's
Snuggles.
right. She always leaves comments about Ziggy when she says Ziggy's watching our live streams, how she gets all comfortable and taking naps and stuff like that. It's
Oh,
cute.
that is cute.
That's cool.
It really is. We got Paula in the house. All right. What's up, Paula? RJ saying, wow, a werewolf battle. I can't wait. There you go.
Mhm.
All right. Melissa's in the house saying both are great. I never had seen Silver Bullet until you told me to watch it, and it's good. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
All
nice.
right. That's what I'm talking about. We got the historian in the chat. Julie, what's
Hello.
up?
Julie?
Thank you for being here, Julie. We appreciate you and helping out with modding. Very cool. We
Yeah.
got Spoof. Spoof is in the house, one of our newest channel members.
Nice.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate that. All right. And we got Eric's link in the chat as always. Make sure you go and subscribe to him. Spoof said he has subscribed.
Thank you.
They have subscribed, I should say. Very
Appreciate
cool. All right. We got Danielle in the house. We got Ben in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. All right. Let's see. Russell's in the house. All right. Very cool. Hope you're doing well, brother. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And I think I'm pretty much caught up for you guys. Gene is here. Hey, Gene. How you doing? All right. Very cool. And Hollywood Guy. Hey, Hollywood Guy. Good to have you here. We appreciate you being here. Very cool. All right. So let's start this thing off, man. We're going back to the 80s. Let's find out who we have in corner number one. Eric, let us know who competitor number one is.
All right. Well, sometimes when you're suffering from a traumatic experience, the best thing is a long getaway. Most of the time, the only problem you'd be dealing with the locals. You know, it could be the man that tries to get you to eat food that you're against eating, or that woman that's just a little too friendly for your taste. One wouldn't suspect that you'd be in danger from a colony of werewolves, including the person that caused that original trauma. However, hopefully for you, there's some handy dandy reading material, a silver bullet or two, or just that glass of acid that just happens to be sitting there. Who knew that being the go-to mom of the 1980s would be so tough for a lady? I'm sure she'd rather be dealing with Cujo or a couple of different movies worth of aliens. This is Dee Wallace and Joe Dante's The Howling.
All right. All right. Coriander, who do we have in corner number two?
For Marty and his sister Jane, an adventure that they didn't ask for is about to happen. All around town, there are attacks and deaths by a beast that no one can stop. Only this bright, handicapped kid can see what's truly going on. Can he convince his uncle and his sister to help him? Between the darkness, beware the full moon, and beware Reverend Lowe. You will need an upgraded ride to get around. Don't worry, because Uncle Red can handle that. Get ready to fight the beast together with the weapon that can stop it. Here's Silver Bullet.
All right. Okay.
Very good.
Kill. Well, let's get the Kills commentary here, man. I've been waiting for this. Listen, man, we've grown up on these movies, me and you. We've talked about them more times than I could even put a number to. We're talking about two of maybe the top 4 or 5 werewolf films, especially of that time. What's your thoughts on these two, man?
Look, We got two good ones here, man. We got Marty with the coolest wheelchair on earth, and we got Dee Wallace, who was like everyone's mom in the 80s. And this is going to be a good one. I just feel like, if Marty had a newscast and could just werewolf out at the end of the movie, people would believe Marty. Gary Busey would believe Marty, finally. All right? Like the world believed Dee Wallace. So I'm ready for it. Fleas and all. Let's get it.
All right, man. All right. So look, man, do you listen? First of all, I usually say, do you hear it? But first I'm going to say, do you see the full moon? Do you see it, Kill?
I see the full moon and I hear the wolf pack.
All right, man. Let's do this for you guys in the chat, for you guys watching the replay. Let's get ready to do this. The werewolf battle, Silver Bullet versus the Howling. You know what time it is.
How you and Bill?
Trying to communicate.
Come on, gee, this is a garter snake. Look at my hose.
That the face of the beast always becomes known.
Bill, wake up, there's something out there.
Some trouble.
Tonight I'm gonna show you something. Make you believe.
All right.
Don't miss,
man.
Marty. You
Don't
got
you
one
miss?
bullet.
Yeah, you got one shot, bro.
Hey, this
Serious.
ain't Eminem we're talking about here, but you got one shot. All right.
You're
If
all
you know,
right.
you know.
That was good. If you know, you know. Hey, real quick, before we officially begin, Hollywood Guy has a channel member anniversary, 10 months. Awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. Saying it's been 10 months. Nice. Thanks for having me and bringing good content. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate the support. Really means a lot, man. It really means a lot. Thank you very much. And we got Million in the chat. What's up? Saying I'm at work, peeking my head in. All right. Very, very cool. And look at this, man. We haven't even started. Hollywood Guy coming in with a super chat. We've only had this happen a few times, saying this is to give points for Silver Bullet if we are still doing that. We are absolutely still doing that. So before we have even officially started the categories, Silver Bullet is up by 10 points.
All right.
That is something else. Thank you so much for the support, man. We really appreciate that. That also helps the channel so much as well. All right. So listen, Kill, sometimes when you think that you know how the audience is going to react, it might go a different way and it might sound a little bit like this. All right. Woo. Oh, my sweet goodness. The look on your face was awesome. Hey, look. So you guys know how we're going to do this thing. We're going to go category by category. We're going to give the point to the film that we think deserves the point, not based on our bias. We're going to tally this up. That's how we're going to find out who wins this battle world. And it's going to be awesome. Silver Bullet versus the Howling. And also in the chat, hey, man, we got Russell in the house. What's up, Russell? He's for the Howling all the way. There you go. All right. And we also have my man Cody Leach in the house. What's up, brother?
Nice.
Good to have you here, man. Saying I can't defend the werewolf bear design, but Silver Bullet is my favorite werewolf film. That's awesome. You know that. Love the relationships between brother and sister and the wacky uncle. Absolutely. Well said, man. I agree. The relationships is the key, man. And it's Stephen King has always had a good way of showing that in his work. So
Yeah, wacky is the perfect word for Mr. Busey, I think.
it's Gary Busey, baby. It's
Best
Gary Busey.
uncle ever.
Ever. Well,
Ever.
well,
I'm just
in
saying.
movies, yeah.
Yes, in
Yes.
movies,
Look, man, Uncle Mike might be watching this, okay?
It's Mr. Joshua when he's off the clock. That's what it is.
Right. Thanks for being here, Cody. We appreciate you, man. Seriously. he said what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, sometimes you just don't know what people are saying. He said, what was that? I know, man.
Dude,
I
try
know.
dealing with it every week.
And the Hollywood guy said, was that LeVar Burton? No, it was not. All right, man. All right, let's do this thing, man. You know how we're doing this. And for you guys in the chat, let us know who gets the point. We won't get to everyone's comment, but as Hollywood Guy did earlier, if you send in a super chat, we'll make sure we get to your comment and or question, and you can put the points of the super chat to the film that you want to get the points, so you can help determine who wins. And by the way, hey, what's up to Tanya? All right. Okay, poster work. Kill. Let's start with this thing. We're starting with the poster. We've got the poster for The Howling, and we've got the poster for Silver Bullet. Who gets the point and why, bro?
You know, even though you really can't see what's going on with it, I'm gonna go Silver Bullet.
Okay.
And my reasoning for that is I get a whole entire tone and vibe and atmosphere from that. You know, it's, you know, you see the moon. I mean, it's very simplistic. It's pitch black, but you see the moon, you see the forest, and you know, it's just something foreboding about it. Whereas the other one, you know, is this a body horror movie? I don't know. Is this the hidden? I don't know. It's just somebody ripping through is it a back? Is it a stomach? Or I don't know. But yeah, it's just something about it that isn't gelling with me. So yeah, I'm going Silver Bullet.
All right. Okay. Eric, how about you? Who gets the point, brother?
Oh, Silver Bullet, hands down. Pretty much everything Kill said. And I like how the picture in Silver Bullet is very small. We have the huge black background, and we just have hints of white and gray and silver. I mean, it works perfectly. I've never liked that poster for The Howling because, like Kill says, what is she ripping through? I always think it looks like, you know, a brown paper bag from the grocery store. You know what I mean? Who is this? Why are they trying to get out of it? It makes no sense. Although it doesn't look like, I don't know what it looks like to me. Although I do like the font of The Howling itself. But it's just kind of drowned out by the WTF moment of what's happening in the poster. Never a fan of that one.
All right. Okay. Coriander, Miss Coriander, how about you?
Well, you know, Silver Bullet looks like a really old book cover. You know, it just, I mean, it's okay, but I don't know. It's like, yeah, you're looking out a window and I guess that's trees and, you know, I guess. But The Howling, I mean, that's obviously not a friggin' paper bag, obviously. Come on now.
It's not that obvious to me.
It's skin. Well, I can see that that's skin. Not that, you know, I'm okay. You know, this isn't like my favorite werewolf movie, but
well, we'll get into all
comparing to the other poster, yeah, I gotta go with this one. You know, I at least know what I'm getting into. With the other one, it's like, what the frig is this? Am I gonna be like read a book? It's like, what is this shit? No, I'm just joking. But yeah.
Okay, all right. So for me, I think both of these they're totally different vibes, and you guys said it all with that. I do actually enjoy both for what they are. I think Silver Bullet, the simplicity of it, is pretty cool. You're kind of thinking, what's going on there? Like the moon and the atmosphere of it looks pretty cool. That being said, I'm going to give the point to The Howling, and here's the reason why. Like you said, Coriander, I always. And it's skin that is being ripped through. And I always thought that was really cool. Like I remember seeing this in the video store as a kid, Kill, and I always thought to myself, what the hell's going on with this movie? And the font, like you said, Eric, really draws me in. So I'm gonna go with The Howling on this. I do like Silver Bullets though, but I'm just gonna edge this one out to The Howling. All right. Very, very cool. Let's go into the chat here and see what these guys are doing. Julie saying, hey to Cody Leach. Thank you so much, Julie. We appreciate that. We got Ben coming in with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate that. You're always so supportive and generous. It's awesome, man. Saying, you know what would be killer? A Nightwatch Zone motion picture. We must find a way to make this a reality. Love you guys. So glad to be here. Well, I don't even know what to say to that, man. But thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you, man. Seriously. And if you do want those points to go to the Howling or to Silver Bullet, man, let me know and we can do that. That would be 10 points. So let me know. But let's do a clip for Ben, brother Ben. And you know what, Kill?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're at a store, you get a little adventurous and you might do something that you shouldn't do. And it might look like this.
I owed him up. I've actually seen that one before.
You have? Oh,
Yeah.
man. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Ben. We appreciate you, man. All right. And we got Jack. Jack in the house. 9 months channel membership. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate that. On our Action Junkie level. Awesome stuff. He's been with us on panel before, and we appreciate the support, bro. Saying I'm back for good. I give a vote for the Howling, the only werewolf franchise worth watching. Wow. We didn't need a Silver Bullet sequel, did we? Well, that's a true point, man. That's a true point. Very cool. All right. Let's see. Who else do we have in the chat? Hey, we got Zeducation in the house. And we also have Sarah, the queen.
Sarah.
Hey. What's up, Sarah? Good to have you here. Saying, hey, friends. Hope you're doing well, Sarah. Thanks for being here. All right. Nathaniel's in the house as well. All right. Atrol, what's going on? We got Mary in the house. Saying the Howling for me is very scary and creative. Yeah. It has its moments, right? Okay. Let's go to our next category. And as always, that's going to take us to the taglines, Kill. The taglines. So the tagline for Silver Bullet is when darkness falls, terror rises. And the tagline for the Howling is beyond anything human, imagine your worst fear a reality. What do you think, man?
They're both kind of generic. When nighttime. Can you read the Silver Bullet one again? I'm sorry.
When darkness falls, terror rises. So it's pretty simple.
Okay.
And then the Howling is beyond anything human. Imagine your worst fear reality.
It's just too much going on that one. I'm going Silver Bullet here. I'm not really a big fan of either. But Silver Bullet, it's a little bit more straightforward for me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You know, one of these days we're gonna have to do a thing where we talk movie taglines, because I gotta hear some of your top favorite ones, man, because I know they gotta be 4 words or less.
Hey,
if they're not 4 words, they don't hit. But it's cool. It's cool, man. All right, Eric, how about you, man?
Top 10 taglines, and he's got a total of like 15 words.
Yeah.
Look, alien in space, no one can hear you scream.
That's probably the longest tagline he likes.
I was just about to say that's a lot of words.
It's not that many, but
I know. I'm just messing with you, man. All right, Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going Silver Bullet as well. They are very generic, but you know what? That also was the 80s as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Silver Bullet is pretty much straight and to the point. I think it's too much going on in the Howling for me. I just want no novel this time, like Kill would say.
You guys and the words, man. I tell you, this was the 80s, bro. They used to have that type of stuff.
When your realities become fear and grow horns and wings and flies away, it's the Howling. But don't forget, we love our kittens and doggies too. It's like, come on, guys.
But you know what, though? It only has 3 more words than Silver Bullet.
Doesn't
don't know,
sound
but
like it. Doesn't feel like it.
yeah,
And two of those
exactly.
words is you. Actually, two of those words is you and a.
So hey,
He
why
was
don't you
prepared
do
for
me
this week, wasn't he?
Huh?
do me the favor, please, and read the Howling, please.
Okay. The Howling is beyond anything human. Imagine your worst fear reality.
Mm,
And then Silver Bullet is when darkness falls, terror rises.
I'm gonna go with the Howling.
Okay. All right. For me, listen, I mean, like I said, we're gonna have to do a stream on taglines, man, because we've started to have a certain way, way of consistency of how we look at things. I think both of them are fine. I think they both work for the films. But I think Silver Bullet is cool, but it's kind of short. Like, so I'm looking at it differently, Kill. I'm gonna go with the Howling because it's kind of, I don't know, it's just saying a couple, beyond anything human. It's like, okay, wow, imagine your worst fear reality. It just kind of, I don't know, gets me psyched a little bit more. But I actually don't mind either tagline, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna edge it out to the Howling on this one. Okay. In the chat, Danielle said the tagline is for the Howling. Silver Bullet comes across like a bad tampon commercial. Wow. Okay. Paul is going with
Wow.
the Howling. All right. Mary is going with Silver Bullet. Okay. All right. Ben saying the Howling's tagline was less corny. There you go. We got Dude in the chat saying the Howling gets the edge. Okay. Let's see, and I think I'm caught up there. Okay, let's go to our next category, Kill. We're going to start off with the opening, which is usually the first couple minutes, could be up to the first 15 minutes of the film. Who gets the point and why?
So this one, and we do these questions all the time. This one's a little tough for me because both movies are doing different things. I mean, in the Howling, it's like we're watching To Catch a Predator or something, where they're setting up a sting operation kind of, and the vibe of it is very urban. It's very 80s.
Right.
It's a city dwelling. It's not what you would expect coming into a werewolf movie, at least in my mind. I'm not imagining that, which is a good thing and a bad thing. And then Silver Bullet is kind of much more along the lines of something a little bit more traditional going on in my head. With that being said, I'm actually going to give the point to the Howling because it kind of catches you off guard. It catches you off guard, building up this news story of Dee Wallace trying to catch this, this creepy guy who's been calling her. She's doing the whole, following the breadcrumbs. He's leading her to, questionable establishments and so forth, where she's really going above and beyond the call of Lois Lane to catch for the story. And it kind of really sets a tone for her resolve and kind of how she is about her job and her profession. And then of course the movie goes into a totally different vibe because of the fallout from that and her kind of, I need a break, I need a vacation. So you don't really get a lot of werewolf at all in this movie for a long time. But I still enjoy that setup. Kind of, gives a little tone of it. So the Howling.
Okay. All right, Eric, how about you?
See, for the reasons that Kill said, that's why I'm kind of going for Silver Bullet. I can appreciate the fact that the Howling tried to do something different. You know what I mean? Making it seem like maybe it's a police procedural or something like that. But for me, I want when it's a werewolf movie for me, I want it straight and to the point, and that's what we get with Silver Bullet. We get the monster pretty much right away. We get its first victim. We get for the budget, a pretty brutal, in my opinion, attack. The practical effects didn't look too bad. The after effect, with the flies and stuff on the head was nice, and that set up the tone that this is possibly going to be, I don't know, not if you would say a murder mystery, trying to figure out who it was, but maybe with the way the narration was. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
liked that narration that we get
Right.
with it, so I'm gonna go Silver Bullet. But I appreciate what the Howling tried to do.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
I agree with Eric. I'm going to go with Silver Bullet also.
Okay. For me, I think that I think this is tough, man, because I think both movies do a really good job of setting up their world. Even if, like you said, Kill with the Howling, this is a little bit different than what you'd expect, and it's actually different from what the rest of the movie is, which in a way is a great thing to give you that variation, right? Um, and Silver Bullet, what I love about Silver Bullet with that narration, like you said, Eric, it's setting up this whole idea of this mystery, and I
Mhm.
really dig that as well. This is tough, man, but I have to edge this out to the Howling, and I'm going to tell you why. Because number one, Dee Wallace is really, she's just a charismatic actress, and she always has been. Even
Mhm.
even when I first saw this movie before I really knew who Dee Wallace was, I was just captivated by the fear that she's having, but yet the courage that she has to do this. And like you said, Kill, this is an urban sprawl. It's creepy, it's seedy. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what to expect, and there is that sense of fear and mystery. When she finally turns around to look at Eddie, and it's like, oh shit, what's going on? So they're already doing some really interesting stuff without even going all the way into the werewolf lore. So I just have to edge that out a little bit, but I really do love the opening to Silver Bullet. It's a great setup. It
Mhm.
really is, and like you said, Eric, even with the budget restrictions, it was effective.
Mhm.
And not to jump ahead, but I think it was effective throughout all of the movie in general. So okay, but the point I'm going to give is to the Howling. Okay. All right, real quick in the chat to catch up with these guys a little bit. We won't catch up to everyone, but we got Chuck in the chat. What's up? All right. Let's see. Daniel said, "Now I want to watch ET." And by the way, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps to support us. And Julie, if you can let us know where we're at on that, that would be great. We got Rod in the chat. What's going on? Saying I enjoy Silver Bullet for its campiness. It's a good entry
Mhm.
horror film for the next generation of horror fanatics. There you go. All right.
Even my daughter liked
Um,
it.
really
Yeah, I was watching
cool.
this previously, and I was about, I don't know, 30 minutes in. She sat down, saw that it was kids, that were the focal point, and she sat down, she watched, and she enjoyed it. So it is good for the next generation if horror fans.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I have to agree. We got Charlie in the chat. What's going on? Good to have you here. Good to have you here. One of our new viewers. Okay, let's go to our next category, Kill. We're going to talk about the story. What do you think? Who gets the point and why?
I'm gonna go Silver Bullet, and the
Okay.
reasoning for that is, for me, there's layers there. There
Hmm.
is the fear of the town. There's the dread from the town. There's the family element. There's the sibling element. There's the uncle who may not be having the best lot at life, and his issues and the issues between him and his sister.
Hmm.
There's also the great relationship between Marty and his uncle,
Hmm.
and me and Knight, we have a great uncle that we love, and uncles are special. They are so
Right.
special. And on top of all of this, I love the fact, and keep in mind, this is an early 80s movie.
Hmm.
Our protagonist has a disability, and it doesn't hinder him.
Hmm.
Right.
And if you think back to movies in the 80s, you know, that's a rarity.
Hmm.
Normally your protagonist is there's a blueprint, you know.
Hmm.
But we have a kid here, and if you take the werewolf stuff out of it, this is a Steven Spielberg movie in the
Hmm.
80s.
Hmm.
This is Goonies. This is, Gremlins, except instead of Gremlins, you have werewolves. And I just love the complexity of it's also a who done it, where
Hmm.
no one in the town knows who the killer is until you start to peel back the onions. And then, of course, just like any great 80s adventure movie, it's the kids that solve it, because the kids are always the smartest characters in these 80s adventure movies. Shouts out to Spielberg, Robert
Right.
Zemeckis, all that.
Yes.
And I just really love the way that the story is it's like a bottleneck of this little town, and all the inhabitants in it are facing dread and terror. There's a curfew. It's just a lot of layers to it that all work great with this cast. So yeah, I gotta go Silver Bullet. For me, The Howling is a little bit more one note, like a fish out of water kind of. Welcome to our colony of werewolves. We want you to join, drink the Kool-Aid. But I gotta go Silver Bullet on this one.
All right. Okay, Eric, how about you?
Again, Kill nailed it. The Howling is a pretty thin plot, although I do kind of like how the colony is basically like a cult. Like he said, drink the Kool-Aid. And I like the investigative stuff that the one female character does. I do like that.
Yeah.
But everything he said and more with Silver Bullet, the story just has so many layers to it. And what I like about this, it is a mystery, but unlike a lot of 80s mysteries, we find out who the werewolf is 40 minutes into the picture. You know what I mean? So now they have to deal with, they know who the guy is, and now they're dealing with all the blowback from them trying to get him to take himself out or leave the town. Now they have, they know who the person is, and they know that this guy can actually get to them during the daytime. You know what I mean? They don't have to wait for a random person to show up, or during the full moon. This can be someone that can show up at your doorstep and no one would think twice because it's a preacher. You know what I mean? That element to it. And it's great with this family bond that I like. That like Kill said, that has a lot to do with the story too. That's what drives the story.
All right. Okay, well said. Coriander, how about you?
I completely agree with both of these gentlemen. So Silver Bullet for me too.
All right. For me, I think both stories are interesting for what they're doing. The Howling takes a much more like atmospheric route as far as what it's doing. As far as doing a certain thing with the lore of werewolves and so forth. That being said, like you guys said, Silver Bullet has more complexity in so many different ways with the characters and the heart of it all. So I also will give this point to Silver Bullet. Okay. All right. Real quick too, in the chat, we got Jack coming in with a point or a $2 super chat to the Howling. All right. So we've got 2 points to the Howling. And yep, we got 2 to the Howling. Okay. Well, listen, let's do this. Let's do another clip here for Jack. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate that, man. Let's do this. Sometimes Kill, you might get surprised when you least expect it, and this is what it looks like. Oh man,
never gets old.
It doesn't, man. It really, really doesn't. Oh my gosh. All right, let's go. Let's go to our next category. The music in the films. Coriander, I'm gonna start with you. The music. Who gets the point and why? Well, that way you can have your thoughts put out there, so everyone's not always taking everything from everyone.
It's funny because usually music, unless it's like Halloween or a Friday, music is like, unless it's like an AC/DC soundtrack, you know what I mean? I usually don't remember. But with Silver Bullet, that music is like, it fits the movie so well. The tender moments, the scary moments, when they're out hunting, when everybody's out being vigilantes and looking for, the killer. They didn't know who it was or what it was. So
Right.
yeah, the Howling, I really can't even think of any of the music. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you any bit of music from The Howling, and I just watched it last night. I think, like Coriander said, it fits perfectly in Silver Bullet. It helps with the tension. It helps with the sense of dread, like when they're in the forest with the mist and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
Keel made a good point. He mentioned how this could be like a Spielberg movie. They have those moments where there's like it's very whimsical and
Mm-hmm.
playful and fun, like when Marty first gets the silver bullet. You know what I
Right.
mean? That music is perfect for a little kid who's basically riding a motorcycle for the first time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfect fit, and I think Silver Bullet really hits it out of the park, both with the fun, happy music, and then the dreadful type of music as well.
All right. Okay. Kill, how about you?
I'm gonna go with Silver Bullet. When you have kids in it in a movie, it gives you the chance to have the whimsical, to have the adventure, have the
Mm-hmm.
the lighter tones. Whereas in The Howling, it's a full adult cast dealing with adult matters and people dying and relationships and so forth. And honestly, the music for me just all blends together on The Howling to the point where I barely remember it. There were actual like little note tones and little themes from the Silver Bullet that I remember, and they're all based on those certain emotions and things that mainly Marty is going through.
Okay.
So yeah, I gotta go Silver Bullet on this one.
All right. For me, I think this is a little bit more challenging though, because the Howling does have some good music. I mean, every time that Dee Wallace has her moment of fear and panic attack, you have that one piece of the score that, and it's. I do remember that when Eddie goes through the
What was that?
transformation.
How the
When
hell
Eddie
that
goes
go?
through when Eddie goes through the transformation, it's kind of like this almost triumphant type of music. This dun 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 dun. It almost sounds like an old school theme, like a Universal Monsters type of thing, and,
Um,
and that plays throughout the movie as well. So The Howling does have some good music.
mm,
That being said, I'm
mm,
gonna go with Silver Bullet because what you guys said, because it does have creepy music, but it
Mhm.
also has this whimsical, adventurous type of theme music as well, which is really cool. It really fits right in with the whole idea of having this young protagonist and her sister, and them trying to fight something that basically only they can deal with. So I'm going to edge this one out to Silver Bullet for the music. Okay. All right. Um, Ben saying I can't remember the music in either right now. Really? Wow. Okay. All right. Russell's going with Silver Bullet. Hey, we got Jason in the chat. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right. And also, let's see. I just want to make sure I catch up to these guys here. And hey to Retro. We got Retro in the chat as well. All right. Okay, let's go to our next category. Melissa's going with Silver Bullet as well. Okay. Next category is characters. Coriander, I'm going to start with you. When we talk about characters, so we're talking about all the characters in both films. Which movie gets the point for character?
hmm. Obviously, I mean, the cast of The Howling, they were great, you know, um,
Mhm.
but I just, I feel for the characters more, I guess, in Silver Bullet than I do for The Howling. Um, I guess just because, it's family and, you know, the love that they have for one another and it's who doesn't like to see that? And these guys really brought that. So yeah, I thought
Okay.
these were really good characters.
All right. Kill, how about you?
You know, Dee Wallace, she's great and everything. And dollar store Tom Atkins, I mean, I could take him or leave him.
Her husband.
It's the mustache.
Hey, that thing there, that's not Tom. That's not Tom. No. You know, for me, the characters in The Howling were more just kind of your typical slasher list of body bags. Like they're here to die. Whereas, you know, and Coriander kind of said it, you feel for the families of the victims. You feel for the father, you know, showing up photos of his son saying he was ripped apart. I felt for my boy from Lost, shouts out to Terry O'Quinn, who
Yeah,
was the
John Locke.
sheriff. Yeah, right? Young Locke.
Young Locke.
was young Locke who had hair.
Shout
in
out
this
to the
one.
stepfather too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very true. You know, I felt sorry for him because he's doing the best he can, and this town is like, you know, like kindling, just where one spark is going to ignite it to the part where the mob went off into the night, damn near with their pitchforks.
Right.
You know, you and even deeper into the characters, the sister, I love her. She's awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
she was.
and yeah, you know, Marty was cool. Marty's buddy, who unfortunately passed away. You know, all of the townsfolk that interacted with Marty, they were all super nice. You know, asking, "Hey, are you ready for me to fill her up for you?" And so it's a lot of small little characters that mean so much. But for me, in The Howling, other than like Dee Wallace, everyone else is just kind of there as a plot device. And I don't really get a lot of knowing them and caring more about them, you know.
Okay.
So I got to go Silver Bullet on this one.
All right. Eric, how about you?
See, one thing is, I Joe Dante is my favorite director, and one thing I
Right.
always look forward to a Joe Dante movie is, you know, before Tarantino, there was Joe Dante in his revolving cast. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We get Robert Picardo, we get Dick Miller, the girl who was doing the investigative stuff. She was in both Gremlins movies, so we always have those same actors, you know, handful of actors, and they're usually really good. The problem is, for The Howling, they don't really do that much for me. Robert Picardo is great being creepy. Dee Wallace is great in this movie, but the rest, like Kill said, they're just kind of there. Dick Miller isn't very memorable as the bookshop owner, but you know, he's always cool. Everybody, in my opinion, in Silver Bullet has a purpose. I'm not a huge young Corey Haim fan, but he's great in this. Megan Follows is great. I love their relationship. Like when she's teased by, you know, Brady, you know what I mean? She falls and she tears her pantyhose. Marty legit feels bad for her and gives
Right.
money to repay, you know, her so she can buy a new pair. So you have that bond. Gary Busey as Uncle Red is amazing, because I like how he's the uncle that doesn't believe this. Like he says, it's Hardy Boys meets Reverend Werewolf. You know what I mean? He doesn't believe this. But again, with that family bond, he loves these kids so much. And I love the way he acts with Marty. Especially, you know, when they're playing poker for baseball cards, and he's doing those awful jokes, and he takes 5 minutes to say goodbye, but then he defends him with the mother. And I feel for the mother because I know what it's like to live with a disabled person, you know, so I understand what she's going through, but I understand when an outsider, and I mean that I don't want to, you know, be disrespectful, but when someone who's not living in that situation, how they can see it, so I can relate to that. And then just the little characters in the town, like Kill said, the guy at the gas station, you want me to wash the windows and check the driver's bullshit meter? He's in 30 seconds in the movie, but he serves a purpose. It's you feel for the people in this nice, close-knit town. So when the werewolf is attacking people and killing people, you feel sorry for them. And that's great storytelling and great use of characters.
All right. You know, for me, I think that all you guys made great points, and I think with The Howling, again, they're two different types of movies. I mean, they have some parallels, but they're different in the sense that one is going for more atmosphere, right, and versus like a family dynamic, which is what Silver Bullet deals with in spades. You know, this family, this uncle that wants to be a part of this family, and obviously dealing with his sister as far as his struggles that he's going through. And you really feel that. I mean, I think Gary Busey was great in this role for Uncle Red, and he improvised a lot of his lines. They allowed him to do that because he was just killing it with the changes that he made. So I'm going to also give this point to Silver Bullet because of the fact that they have a lot of layers to these characters. They've really got some fun moments, but also a hell of a lot of tender moments. I mean, there's so many great tender moments between Marty and Uncle Red, Marty and Jane, and obviously at the end with the confrontation, like you really feel it. Like I think it's you said it really well earlier, Kill. You really would think that this was like a Steven Spielberg movie or Robert Zemeckis movie. It's totally right there in that time period, 1985. You know what I'm saying? So the actors and the actresses did a hell of a job. So I'm going to go with Silver Bullet on this one. All right. Real quick too in the chat, we got Jeff in the house saying one of my favorite werewolf movies is Silver Bullet. All right. Very cool. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. Hey, we got our good buddy Steven in the house.
Hey, Steven.
From Craven Something Scary. What's up, brother? Good to have you here. Saying that Silver Bullet is getting his vote for characters as well. Okay. Very, very cool. We've got Sion in the chat. Sion in the chat saying, what's up? Good to have you here. Hope you're doing well. Okay, let's go to our next category. The scarier threat. The scarier threat. So when we talk about this, we're talking about putting ourselves in the situation of the characters, dealing with the threats that they have. So we don't just run away. We're dealing with what's going on, because that always makes it interesting when people say, well, you could just run. We're going to deal with the threats like the characters in the movie are dealing with the threats. Kill. Who gets the point and why?
Okay, so I guess for me, I look at it, in two separate ways. One is adults dealing with the threat. The other one is kids dealing with the threat. Right there alone, a child having to deal with a threat, you're hindered. Will the other adults, believe you? Do you have access to firearms? Physically, or you're inferior because you're a child. But then also there's a colony of werewolves, and then there's the unknown werewolf. For me, I'm still going to go with Silver Bullet. And my reasoning for that is every full moon, or, every time the werewolf transforms, he kills it, every time. And when the mob comes after him, with their pitchforks, he kills a few of them in one night. And then on top of that, you got the Fright Night effect going on here. And what I mean by that is the villain knows who you are, and he knows that you know who he is.
Okay.
Right. And it's just this thing of, and I think Knight, you said it earlier, or it might have been Eric, and this villain, he doesn't have to wait till the moon is full. He doesn't have to wait till it's dark like a vampire.
Neither do the Howling, though. Well, Eddie could transform at will.
Well, I'm just kind of comparing it to the Fright Night effect of your neighbor is the villain, and but yeah, I still think children dealing with the terror, you already have more of a disadvantage. The adults can utilize adult things, weapons, etc. They may be stuck there, just like in Silver Bullet, but it's still just a thing of there's a better chance. They're still going to die, but there's a better chance they may survive. So I'm going to go Silver Bullet on this one.
All right. I'm going to jump in because I think the opposite way, because I think I'm going to give the point to the Howling, because we don't even know how many of them that there were. And, Dee Wallace and her husband were brought there for the specific purpose of bringing them into the fold, and they don't even know it. Well, obviously her husband finds out, but the thing of it is that it's a huge conspiracy with this colony, and it's pretty much you're already the target before you even know it. Obviously Marty became the target, but he wasn't at first. And you're talking about one werewolf versus, like I said, I don't even know, at the end in that barn, what was it, like 20 something of them, whatever it was. So to me, this is easily going to go to the Howling. Okay, Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I actually got to go with the Howling just based on like what you said is the quantity of factor. Is like we don't know how many werewolves there are in the colony. We know we've seen how many people there are like around the campfire and their get-togethers and stuff, but there could be dozens and dozens and dozens more that we haven't seen. Now, like Kill said, granted these are kids. One of the children can't walk, so they have that hindering them. But I
Mhm.
think just based on sheer size of one werewolf versus a ton of werewolves, I gotta go with a howling. And the thing is, Dee Wallace's husband was bit, so now you can't trust your spouse. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's another thing that's against it. At least Marty had his sister and Uncle Red. Dee Wallace was really
That's a
pretty
good
much
point.
on her own. So I gotta go with the howling.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Uh, you know, it's kind of because we all make really good points, because you got a colony and then you've got one single werewolf, right? But with kids, they're smart, especially when they're dealing with something that you got to solve this problem on your own, right?
Hmm.
Because in this case, they did have the uncle, but if they didn't, I mean,
But
I
they
think
do.
Marty would have been. I get that, but I'm just saying, if he didn't have him, I still think he would have found some way. I think they would have somehow pulled it through. I don't know how, but I think they would.
Hmm.
But and with the howling, I mean, you've got, you know, her husband doesn't know what's going on. Dee Wallace at first didn't know what she saw when she was, in the booth with him. And, it's like, I guess for me, the scarier threat would be being with a bunch of adults who are ignorant to really what's going on, and versus where you get these kids who know what's going on, and they're trying to, you know and they do solve the problem. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna go with the howling also, you know
Okay.
so yeah.
All right. All right. Real quick too in the chat. Let's just jump to the chat here because it's been a minute. Catherine's in the house, and sorry I'm late again. Well, good to have you here. We got Peyton in the chat. All right. We got Jamie in the house. What's up, Jamie? Good
Hey,
to have you here.
Jamie.
Saying the howling for everything. Well, I'll tell you right now, the hauling is way behind, so you guys might want to help the hauling out. And we got Jeff coming in, gifting 5 memberships. All right. Hey, thank you so
Ooh.
much, Jeff. We appreciate that, man. Seriously, very kind of you. Looks like we got Jose is back in the fold with us. Darth, Jinzo, Joker, and Kay. All right. We'll definitely give a shout out to our good friend Jeff, who's always so generous, trying to help strengthen the community here, which we really appreciate, man. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Seriously. All right. Next category, atmosphere. Coriander, we're going to start with you. When we talk about atmosphere, which of these films has the better atmosphere?
I am gonna go with Silver Bullet, just
Wow.
because with the music, and you know especially the scene when they're like in the woods, right? You got that mist,
Mm-hmm.
you got people getting taken down left and right. um yeah, and when he's out on the bridge, right, and you see something before he realizes he's being stalked by this
Mm-hmm.
werewolf. It I I think Silver Bullet's got really good atmosphere.
Okay. All right. Eric, how about you?
Both are really good with it, but I think Silver Bullet's more consistent with its atmosphere from beginning to end. You have this sense of dread, you have this sense of danger, you have the sense of how dangerous the werewolf is with a lot of the kills, whether it's the man on the railroad at the beginning, the woman in her bedroom. You know what I mean? That's a vicious scene, and even with the mystery of finding out who the werewolf is, and even after they do, you still have that sense of danger. I think Howling is very good at with its creepy werewolf atmosphere, but the problem is I think it just loses it quite a bit because we go back to the one girl who's doing the investigation. You know, we cut it when we're going to meet Dick Miller in the bookshop and stuff like that. I just think Silver Bullet is more consistent from beginning to end without losing that sense of dread and danger.
Okay, all right. Kill, how about you?
I'm a sucker for the atmosphere in Silver Bullet, the small town vibe. You know, the villain essentially is a preacher. You know, and when you realize that he is the bad guy, his whole demeanor, I mean, that actor is excellent. His whole demeanor changes, and it's just creepy. And just, you know, the whimsicalness that the beginning portion of this movie has and the fun times, it really drifts and then goes into the wow, this is really scary because the bad guy knows I know about him. And it just takes a whole nother avenue of like the fear aspect. So overall, the atmosphere, Silver Bullet.
Okay, all right. Real quick in the chat, Melissa's going with Silver Bullet. Steven's going with Silver Bullet. We have Brian in the chat. What's up, man? Going with Silver Bullet. Russell is going with The Howling. Okay. And Danielle going with Silver Bullet. Okay. Paul is going with The Howling. All right. Jamie saying, am I the only person who doesn't like Silver Bullet at all? Probably. I think I got bored of it. Ooh, okay.
I know some people, trust me.
Interesting. Okay. We got Strange Monkey in the house. What's up, man? Going with
Monkey.
Silver Bullet. Hope you're doing well, bro. And I gotta talk to you about something, man. I'll try to message you after the stream. He's saying I'm stuck at work. Hope you're all well. Yes, indeed, man. Hope you're having a good time at work, or at least getting through it. For me, though, you know, I'm gonna go with The Howling on atmosphere. Because like from the and Kill, you said this too from the beginning. Like, even though it's an urban type of sprawl that we start off with, I think the atmosphere is just really like there's a darkness throughout this film. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Dee Wallace is dealing with a traumatic experience, but it feels like that follows her all the way to the very end when she tries to basically save the world. And especially once we get into the colony, which is only like 15 minutes into the film, all the way throughout the rest of the runtime, it's just kind of a creepy atmosphere. It's a beautiful place, the landscape, but you just feel this ominous vibe, and I think they hold that throughout the whole film. That's not to take away from the atmosphere in Silver Bullet. It's a lighter atmosphere at times, but also creepy. But I just think that ominous atmosphere in The Howling is a little bit deeper. So I'm going to go with The Howling on atmosphere, just edging out the Silver Bullet. All right. Okay. And we got Jeff saying, I hate Silver Bullet. For me, it's the characters.
Oh,
I think I'm reading that right. Maybe I read that wrong. We got Motorcycle in the chat going with Silver Bullet. Welcome to the chat. We appreciate you being here. Hope you're enjoying the conversation. And by the way, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps us out. We really appreciate it. And Julie, if you're still here, if you could let us know where we're at with the likes, that would be great. Okay, let's go to our next category. The werewolf design. The werewolf design. Kill. Let's start with you. What do we think?
I'm kind of torn. I'm not the biggest fan of the design of either of these movies.
Wow.
Well, I'm spoiled by, come on, Werewolf in London, and that's always in my mind, and I'm sorry to use that always as my litmus test. What I will say is, out of these two, I personally prefer the look in Silver Bullet. And well, hear me out. I know some people might think, oh, it's more like a grizzly bear or so forth, but I don't know. It's just something about the design of that one, and the sheer fact of once the werewolf is damaged, it's reflected in the damage. Now we have a werewolf with one eye and so forth. And I really also enjoyed the scene where our villain is having a delusion where he's in church and everybody is turning into werewolves, you know, and so forth. So for me, I liked those transformations and so forth. And like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of either's, just full, this is what the werewolf looks like, but I slightly would lean more towards Silver Bullet.
Okay. All right. Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I was waiting for this category. It's a grizzly bear versus to quote A Christmas Story, deranged Easter bunny. You know what I mean? And I've always been poking fun at the Howling because I don't the pointy ears and stuff like that.
Exactly.
They look good for the budget they had. I will give them props for that. But here's the reason why I'm going to pick Silver Bullet. Easter Bunny be damned. There is no excuse for how Dee Wallace turns out at the end of this movie. I absolutely loathe how she looks. To me, she looks like a baby Wookiee instead of a werewolf. I can't take that ending serious because of that. So by default, I'm going to give it to Smokey the Bear and Silver Bullet. Hey, there's no lying, man. If it wasn't for, I'll say this: if it wasn't for Dee Wallace,
Smokey the Bear versus Wolves for werewolf design.
Those ears are way too pointed, and that's what I've always had an issue with.
If it wasn't for Dee Wallace at the end, I would have given it to the Howling. But there's no excuse for what she looks like in the final product of that ending scene. It's just so disappointing.
All right, Coriander, how about you?
I've never really liked the look of the Howling werewolf. I didn't really even care for the transformation it went through. I mean, Silver Bullet, grizzly bear. I mean, that's one skinny damn bear. I don't think it really looks, like a grizzly bear. But I mean, it looks better than the Howling, so I definitely have to go for Silver Bullet.
Okay, all right. And real quick too, in the chat, just to catch up with these guys, we've got people all over the place. Silver Bullet, the Howling. Paul is going with the Howling. Wow. Okay. Motorcycle going with Silver Bullet. Okay. We got Derek in the chat. What's going on?
Hey, Derek.
Hope you're doing well. Saying I'm so far behind getting Little Man down. Boy, did you pick two serious 80s werewolf classics. There's some detriments to these movies, but some solid gold too. Yeah, I agree. Motorcycle saying Silver Bullet looks like an ape suit. Okay. All right. Okay. Paul is going with Howling. Okay, so for me, listen. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Now, we all know. Now, listen, especially on this channel, we all know about other films and what they did, but we're talking about these two films. Okay. Now, I enjoy both of these films. We'll get to other categories, so I won't get too deep into that. But listen, the Howling design, I'm going to go with the Howling. That looks more like a werewolf than Silver Bullet. And I've always enjoyed Silver Bullet, and I'll say some other stuff about it in other categories. But I agree. It really is. Even Stephen King said it. It's almost like a bear type of
it's a teddy
design.
Bear.
It's a bear. Okay, so we're talking about werewolves. Okay, and
what's scarier, an Easter bunny or a bear? Come on.
Anyways, I'm going with the Howling because of the fact that
with the Easter bunny
when they're fully, like at the end when they were attacking the car, I think they looked scary. I mean, they really did. And although the Silver Bullet has some creepy scenes and some terrifying scenes in a sense, but it's never really to me about the werewolf. It's really about the situation and the characters being attacked. Whereas with the Howling, like I said, when you really see them and you see them as a group in the barn and when they're attacking Dee Wallace at the end, they do look scary. So to me, this isn't even close. It's not even. There's like light years apart from each other that I'm going to go with the Howling.
I think the problem for me is maybe the Howling werewolves are a little scary, all jokes aside, but I think they're more scary when they're in the dark for me, and we don't see them as much. Like at the end when they're attacking the car, a lot of that's at nighttime, and you don't, in my opinion, you don't get a lot of real good close-up shots. And that's just, I think that's what helps them be scarier for me. But if we're just talking design, like Kill said, it's those ears that throw my. Even again, the end. Take out the end because we'll talk about the finale. It's those ears that I just don't like. There's
Okay.
Silver Bullet where I roll my eyes. I'm like, that's what we get. Or then there's a look that I just don't like. So
Yeah, that was intentional with Stephen King as well, man. The designer for the werewolf and Stephen King, they wanted the wolf to be different than
mhm,
the other ones like the Howling or American Werewolf, and they wanted it in darkness for the most part, and they wanted it to be kind of a design that was more. They didn't say bear-like, but
mhm,
they just wanted it to look different than what we had seen. Of course, Dino De Laurentiis didn't like that idea. They had an actual argument about that back and forth, but
yeah,
ultimately Stephen King won that debate. And I mean, look, obviously we're giving our points, but it is a big contention with Silver Bullet. The fact that it's Smokey the Bear. A lot of people,
mhm.
that's what they say. Is like that's the
Give him the
one
hat.
thing. That's the one thing about Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
But anyways, real quick, man, in the chat, Ben saying, hey Knight, I gotta run. Sending in a super chat, $5, man. Thank you so much. Saying give my 15 points to the Howling. All right. There we go. Now we might have caught up here. Thank goodness. Ben, thank you so much. We appreciate the support, bro. It really means a lot. I don't know if you've already left, but thank you so much, man, for all your generosity and support, brother. All right. Let's go to our next category. Okay, the better werewolf film. As far as mythology of a werewolf, Kill, who gets the point and why?
Mythology of a werewolf in
The
the
way that it's
traditional sense.
presented. Well, no, okay, let me just the way it's presented in the film. I'm not saying which is the more traditional because we already know the answer to that. I'm just saying the way it's presented in the film as a werewolf film and how it goes through that and all of that. Like that's what we mean by this category.
Okay. In my opinion, I'm gonna go Silver Bullet. And the reasoning for that is they kind of lay out, the full moon cycle to the point where, Uncle Red even sets it up that he'll be able to be there to protect the kids if this thing where he's still not even 100% sure he believes in, will go down, on a full moon. The crafting of the silver, the kids donating their silver chains, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, he goes to a guy who's a craftsman and so forth, and he's just like, oh yeah, this is silly, what are you even going to shoot on this? And the guy says, a werewolf. And it's
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, he believes in this. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, all of those things, the moon cycle, the silver and so forth, all of that ties into, in my opinion, to classical werewolf mythology and utilization. I mean, how many of these movies do they actually craft the silver bullet?
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, that's vintage, that's classic werewolf film. Yeah, I gotta go Silver Bullet on this one.
All right. Eric, how about you?
I think they're both really done well. You have these vicious beasts in the Howling, and then you pretty much have everything what Kill just said about Silver Bullet. The reason why I'm going to go with Silver Bullet is if we're also talking the mythology, lots of times people who are bitten by the wolf, they know what they are and they struggle with it. And what I
Mm-hmm.
like about how it's done in Silver Bullet, Reverend Lowe is struggling with the fact that he is a wolf. That whole nightmare sequence. He doesn't like what he is. And he eventually accepts it after he wants to get revenge on Marty. But I like
Mm-hmm.
that little bit of a struggle. I like when our werewolf protagonist, I guess you would say, villain or not, has that struggle, knows what they're doing. It's against their will. They don't want to kill, and they still eventually do. And I think that's just kind of what pushes Silver Bullet a little bit over the Howling for me when we're talking
Okay.
mythology.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
I agree with Killian. I think he said it pretty good, with making the silver bullet and,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. So, yeah, man.
Okay. All right. For me, I think both of the films do some interesting stuff. I mean, in The Howling, they also do the research and they're watching the Wolf Man and, they go and read the books on it, the occult warlocks and wolves and all that. So I think there was some good stuff in that too. And obviously, with the whole idea of the colony and how does a colony of werewolves survive in a modern day? That was like a big part of what that film was about and how they were trying to grow that society. That being said, I think Silver Bullet, the interesting thing about Silver Bullet that they were able to do is have this werewolf story where you have the beast attacking and you have, like you were saying, Eric, Reverend Lowe dealing with that struggle of being a werewolf and is he good or is he not? But it was through the perspective, the POV of a young child, and a handicapped one at that. So, there's also this whole idea of how things can be magnified because you are a child and how, you have that extra fear. So I'm going to edge this one out to Silver Bullet because of that. I think that they were able to use those elements of a werewolf film, but the idea of it being through the POV of Marty, I thought was really the icing on the cake. All right. Okay. In the chat, real quick, just to catch up, we got Shape in the house. What's up, man? Shape in the shadows coming in with a super chat, $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Saying, give it to Silver Bullet. Give my regards to your brother, Jane. Okay, man. All right. So we've got another $5 to Silver Bullet. 5 points, I should say. Shape, thank you so much for the super chat, man. We appreciate you. You're always being so supportive and generous. It really means a lot to us, man. So let's do this. Let's get some advice from someone. Every once in a while you need to pick me up. You need some inspiration, and there's only one person that you need to do that with. Here he is.
Hey, this is Mr. T talking. It's capital T that rhymes with me. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in how a problem bothers us, we don't see what the problem really is. So when you get your feelings hurt by somebody you love, think a minute before you cry and moan about your own feelings. Because the person you love might be the one who's really hurting. Take it from me, Mr. T.
There you go. He was such a poet, wasn't he, man? He still is. All right. Real quick too, in the chat, Russell saying they're both good in their own way. Yeah, that's true, man. Very true. Let's see. And Jeff saying Silver Bullet. I like it better because I like the family dynamic. Okay. All right. Well said, man. Well said. Exactly, Derek. You can't argue with Mr. T. All right. Let's go to our next category. The effects in the film. Kill, let's start with you. Which film had the better effects overall?
Overall, for me, I'm gonna go Silver Bullet. And it's so funny. I haven't watched this movie in such a long time. I forgot how gory some of it is. Just and how vicious the werewolf is in here. And like I said earlier, I actually, once again, the design of the werewolves, say what you want, it's a product of its time. I did enjoy the transformations that the Reverend was having with his, when he was, just seeing things, seeing all of these people just out in the church audience transforming in front of his eyes. And it's like, it's very subtle at first, then it just gets very graphic. The random body parts from where the werewolf is like, ripping people's arms off and using their bats against them and so forth, clawing at them. I think it's still pretty good. I gotta go with Silver Bullet.
Okay, Eric, how about you?
I'm actually going to give a point to the Howling. I like everything Kill mentioned in Silver Bullet, but for me, they're all kind of brief. You know what I mean? We get the head swipe in the beginning, which I've already praised. That transformation in the church, I really like when all the people in the pews are slowly turning into the werewolves. But I think Reverend Lowe's transformation is just okay. The transformation scene in the Howling, I really, really like. It's a little slow. It takes a while for it to happen, but I just think all the attention to details. Like I'm a sucker for, was it Rob Bottin who did it? Night,
yes.
I think. Yep. When because he likes to, him and Sandwiches, they like to use bladder effects, under the skin,
Yep.
so the skin bubbles. That's what I
Right.
like. I like seeing the fingernails slowly come out of the fingers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not just that transformation scene. I like when that one werewolf loses its hand, when its
Yeah.
arm gets hacked off. The way that just practical effect looked was really, really cool. And it's really hard if you're not Stan Winston. It's really kind of hard to beat Rob Bottin. You know what I mean? So
It's
gotta
true,
go with
man. Well, interestingly enough, too, just to throw this out there, because Rick Baker had started
him. Rick Baker's another one. Yeah.
work on it and then went to go over to American Werewolf in London, and Rob Bottin was Rick Baker's protege. Now, of course, Rob Bottin, world famous for the effects of The Thing. That was kind of how he got to The Thing. So it's some really interesting backstory on it. But Rob Bottin basically stepped up to the plate and did finished up the effects and did pretty much all the effects for the Howling. But yeah, him and Rick Baker, they love those bladder effects. They really do. Okay, Coriander, how about you? Who gets the point for overall the better effects?
So I said it earlier. I don't like the looks of the werewolf and the howling. I didn't care for the transformation. I didn't really like the bubbling. It made me think of I wanted some bubble gum. But yeah, I mean, and it was really long. Usually with the transformation, you're like, whoa, this is great. But I'm like checking my watch. What the hell? This is like 20 minutes later. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, but the transformation in
But
American Werewolf is long too. Come on, to
but
be
that's
fair,
good. No, it's
because I've done them
we're
side
not
by side
hey,
in the video.
like you, Night. We're not talking
I'm
about that
I'm
transformation.
just calling you
We're
out. 'Cause
talking about
'cause you
these
love that
two.
one. I'm just calling you out.
So I'm just saying I enjoyed the Reverend more than Mr. Rabid Bunny. So there you go.
All right. For me, I think that both films had some good effects. But to Eric's point, there was a lot of brief effects for Silver Bullet, other than the church scene, which was a standout. Like, I really love that scene. And Everett McGill, just to give him some credit too, as Reverend Lowe. I mean, he was just great, man. Shout out to People Under the Stairs. I was really thinking that scene in the church. I wanted that to go a little bit longer because it was just so. That being said, this to me, this isn't even close, man. It's got to go to the Howling. The work that Rob Bottin did and there's multiple transformations, like from beginning to end. Like the Reverend goes through his transformation, like he goes like a third of the way when he's with Terry O'Quinn, and then at the end of the film, you see the reverse back to a human. Bits of that, maybe 30% of that, which actually that looked really cool. I wanted to see him change from Reverend Lowe to the full wolf. You know what I'm saying? Like I was hoping that they would do that. I know the budget constraints are there, so that's fine. But I feel as though overall the effects, like you said too, Eric, when the reporter lady, when she was chopping off the hand and all that, Eddie when he was burned with the acid. I mean, to me, it's not even close. The effects, it has to go to the Howling on this. Long transformation or not, I just think that Rob Bottin, there's more on display as far as ability. Where Silver Bullet has great stuff, but it's all stunted, and of course that probably was a choice they made because of the budget. And it doesn't really detract from the film, but when you compare it to the Howling, I think that's why I'm going to give the point to the Howling on that. Okay. All right. Real quick. Let me just jump into the chat. Motorcycle saying the Silver Bullet wheelchair was an effect. Oh, okay. All right. We got Kay in the chat. What's going on? We got Jerry in the house. What's going on? Russell saying, Coriander, you're breaking my heart. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Solid. It is. All right. Jamie saying the Howling hate is killing me. Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie. Let's see who else we got. All right. Jeff saying I can say the weakest point on Silver Bullet, the look of the werewolf. He looks like Smokey the Bear. Okay. All right. Our next category. The scariest scene in the film. Coriander, I'm going to start with you. What's the scariest scene, and from which
Oh
film is it?
man. Why do you have to start out with
so that what you want to say isn't taken away, which happens
right? But
so
then
much.
now I have to think about it like instantly.
We'll give it some thought. I'll check the chat.
Okay.
And Russell, a fan of the Howling, saying it is great. I think it's really good too. I mean, it's one of the you know, the iconic werewolf films of all time. You know. Let's
Okay,
see.
I got it.
All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I think it is for me. I think the worst scene is when in Silver Bullet, Marty's friend, is obviously he's killed, and his dad gets there and lifts up the sheet and sees his kids, his son all torn up, and that for any parent would be probably the worst day of their life. So that I could relate a lot that that's happened, but that I have kids, and that would be like the scariest thing to see my child like that. Hell no.
Okay.
I can respect that. Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Okay. Eric, how about you?
Scariest scene for me is Silver Bullet, and there's technically no werewolf involved. It's the scene where Megan follows. She's dropping off all the canned good or all the cans and empty bottles in Reverend Lowe's garage, and she finds the Peacemaker, the Bat, and then she runs right into Reverend Lowe. And what is scary about that scene to me is Megan Follows. She's really good in this movie. I mean, we haven't really praised her a lot. I think her performance is really good. And just the look of fear when she's looking, it's a great camera shot. She's looking up at this guy, you know what I mean? Because he towers over her. And Everett McGill, you shouted out people under the stairs. He's an intimidating man. And lots of times all he has to do is stand there and look at you. And that's what he does to her. And then he says something like, something wrong, Janie. You know what I mean? She plays it off, I saw a mouse or whatever. But just that is, that's just so scary because he knows who shot him in the face, her little brother. So you have that to deal with her character. And she just found out, she's been searching all day for someone with one eye or an eye injury. She found him. But the thing is, he found her first, technically. You know what I mean? He found her in the garage. And just the tension is what adds to the scares to me. So I got to go with that scene in Silver Bullet.
Okay. All right. Good one. Kill, how about you?
It's so funny. That is exactly the one that I picked. And what I was going to say is the one that I picked has no blood in it. It has no werewolf in it, but it has that fear of the oh shit moment. Like this is the guy. This is the person.
Game on,
it's that same fear of Clarice is stuck with in Silence of the Lambs in a small corridor with a cowboy, the killer.
Bill.
Yes, thank you. It's that fear of I'm stuck here with this person who is clearly the bad guy. They may or may not know that I know that they're the bad guy.
Right.
And that actor, he's so intimidating. And the way that his demeanor switches from the loving, reverend of this town, don't go out, don't be part of the mob, let's pray and this and that. And then to this, it's like, wow, this is an actor's actor. And he sells it. And you have this young lady who, like you said, I think Eric said, we haven't really talked about her performance that much, but she was kind of like the uncle where I kind of believe my brother, but he might just be messing with me. And to this point, at the end of her day, she thought, oh, he has been messing with me all day long. And then when she sees the patch and she sees the stuff in the garage and so forth, and she starts putting two and two together. Oh, and she's like, oh, I gotta go. He's, oh, you want something to drink? You can come in. Nope, I gotta go. I gotta go. And it's just very scary and just nerve-wracking. So that's actually the scariest scene that I was gonna choose.
All right. Actually, that's the same exact scene that came to my mind as well. And that's why I have it in the intro, because I think that it was a scene that at that point you really didn't know how how far he was ready to go at that point. You know, was he just gonna just, you know, go all out at that point, or was he still trying to hedge his bets? And again, Everett McGill, very talented character actor, you know, definitely deserves a lot more love.
Twin Peaks.
And
If you've ever seen that, he's good in that.
absolutely. And I think that it was such a stressful, challenging moment. And Megan Follows was, again, the look on her face, like, and Corey Haim did a great job of this too. Both, again, and I've said this 1,000 times, when you have child actors, you know, that are central to the plot of the story, you know, that can make or break it. You know what I'm saying? Because if they're not good, it totally can destroy a movie. But if they are good, it elevates it so much because of the fact that they are young actors. And both of them were so fantastic in their roles and their chemistry together, but also just some of the little things like the looks on their face. When they had fear on their face, you bought it, you believed it, and you felt it too. And she had that in that whole scene, because as soon as she sees that bat and he shows up, and I, like you said, Kel, I love it how he's like, you know, you're thirsty, you can come into the parlor and have some soda pop. And it's like, oh boy, you need to just say no to Coke. And I'm talking about the soda. So yeah, that's the scene that I would go with too from Silver Bullet. It's a fantastic scene. It really is, man. All right. Real quick too in the chat, we got American Turkey Burger in the house. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Danielle saying, I just assume scary scene would be in the Howling because I never seen a really scary moment in the film with Corey Haim, except for Corey Feldman's acting. Okay. Wow. All right. Russell saying, just didn't find them scary, but that's just me. Okay. All right. Let's go to our next category. And let me just pull this up here. And it is, for you, Kill, favorite character in either film. Who would it be and why?
Uncle Red, because being one of the only cool adults in the movie, or at least the one cool enough to, you know, be cool with the kids, he believed he believed the kids as much as an adult would allow, with something so bombastic as a werewolf. You know, he believed to the point where he went and got the bullet made, still probably not believing that we need to do this, but the kids need to see this so that they'll feel safe, to get over their fears. And even when the sister says, I saw it in the window there, yada yada, he still doesn't really believe her, but he's checking the window, he's looking. So just to have an adult figure in the movie that, you know, for the most part, he's a mature adult for the most part, but he is, you know, the cool Uncle Red. But for him to at least believe to that extent, not fully believing, but believing to that extent, was more than any other adult in that movie would have given them. And once again, shouts out to the sheriff, because only Uncle Red, another adult, could go to the sheriff and say, hey, look, I know this might sound silly, just hear me out. And the way he does it is so, it works, because if he went to, was like, sheriff, I gotta tell you, we got a werewolf. You know, he's like, look, you know, kids, just do me a favor. We might want to check him out. You know, you know me, I'm Red. You know, I'm gonna go get me a drink. But hey, it might be something there. And because of the way he sells it, it works. And the sheriff goes and checks it out, and the sheriff dies. So there you go.
There you go.
So Uncle Red.
Okay. All right. Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going Uncle Red, you know, hands down. He is the fun uncle. I mentioned it before. I love when they're playing poker with the baseball cards. He's doing the lame jokes. You know, he taking 5 minutes to tell Corey Haim good night. But again, you know, he's sticking up for him. You know, again, he doesn't know the situation, but I appreciate that he's trying to stick up for Marty. He's like, you know, he's not all about the wheelchair. I like that about him. But again, he's on his third divorce. You never see him without a bottle of wild turkey. You know what I mean? He's on his third divorce, and he already found a girlfriend, you know, 3 nights later. You know what I mean? So he's, you know, he is in every everyday man. What I like about him too is he's always there to protect the kids, to look out for them, but he also isn't going to put up with their bullshit. Like I love the
Right.
scene when he finds out, he had that joke, Hardy Boys versus Reverend Werewolf, but he's really pissed and disappointed in Marty. The fact that Marty is sending those letters. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
what is your problem?
Right.
I'm so disappointed in you. So he's so ready to read them the right. He's the air quotes, the adult when he needs to be the adult.
Mhm.
But Gary Busey also makes him so lovable because Marty's having the worst day of his life. Fireworks are canceled, and he just made him this big, cool wheelchair, the silver bullet. And I love how he's hiding it from his sister, Marty's
Right.
mom. Red,
Mhm.
are you doing okay? And he just looks at her and goes, yeah, give it a thumbs up. And he runs behind the garage like a little kid. Like he's so excited to give this gift to Marty. And that's what
Mhm.
also makes him relatable. He's not just, the goofy, fun uncle. He's also like a little kid at heart in certain moments, and that Gary decides to use this. And again,
Mhm.
I love, like, I'm sure we're going to talk about the finale. I love the fact when he sees that werewolf, he's like, okay, the kids were real. Let's get rid of this type of thing. So he's just so good at making this character lovable, likable, but also the adult figure. So
Right.
Uncle Red.
All right. Okay, Coriander, how about you?
So I am actually going to pick Jane. At the beginning of this film, her and Marty were like, that scene where they were like a picnic or wherever the
Yeah.
hell they were, and with the
Mhm.
snake, and she was in a puddle, and sure, his friend did it, but still.
Mhm.
And then, at the end of the movie, they're like, she's like, she said something like, it took me, I don't know how long before I could say I love you. And,
Mhm.
and they're both like, it just, they had that's sweet, and
Mhm.
she was, she was a good big sister and through all of this, really. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. All right. For me, yeah. Well, Jane was awesome, but I got to go with Uncle Red as well. There's no doubt at all that, and we talked about it earlier. Gary Busey, just with his charisma, he's just zany antics, his charisma to really connect with not only the characters in the movie, but you as the viewer, right? Like you as the viewer, you're kind of like, man, yeah, this guy, he's pretty cool. He's troubled, he's got a lot of troubles, but I think that's part of what makes him so endearing is that he rises above that for the sake of his nephew and his niece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he has true love for them and his sister. And I think that that's something that is so relatable. Stephen King has this in so many of his, so much of his work. These characters that seem so real, and you connect with them, and that's what makes it special. And when a Stephen King story is done right, when it's adapted the right way, that always shines. So I got to go with Uncle Red on this too. But Jane was great. Marty was great as well. Um, all the things that you guys said, I totally agree with. I really, really do. All right. Real quick, too, in the chat. Let's catch up with these guys. Let's see. We got entertainment in the chat. There's a fan of Uncle Red. There you go. And by the way, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps to support the channel. Paul is going with D. Wallace. All right. We got one. Russell as well, going with D. Wallace. Awesome. Very cool. Russell is going with Eddie. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Melissa's saying Jaws versus Lake. Well, I can tell you this. If you are, and I actually mentioned this earlier, if you are on the second tier of our channel membership or higher, you actually can make a request for future episodes. We got a long list. So just let us know in the community tab section, because I have polls up for you guys at the Movie Fanatics level and higher. So that is one way that you can get a suggestion done. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Okay, next category. Kill. The transformation. The transformation. Which film gets the point and why?
Well, we've kind of been talking about this a little bit. I'm kind of like what Coriander said. I'm not really a fan of the bladders. I'm not a fan of the bubblies. Out of these two films, I'm gonna go Silver Bullet. And once again, I did enjoy the transformations, although they weren't. I guess some of them were more full than the others. With the the scene with them in the pews. Some were further along than others, but just the sheer fact of how many were going on at one time and so forth, and the different variations was awesome. When the poor sheriff is kind of checking out the reverend, and you kind of see some of that transformation, and he's not even fully finished transforming, and he's just already starting to kill the sheriff. It's just like, well, damn. And of course, they do hide a lot of it. They use a lot of darkness. They use a lot of shadow. But overall, I still like the grizzly bear or werebear design that's in Silver Bullet. Then the demonic Easter bunny. I gotta go Silver Bullet.
Guys, come on, man.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No line.
All right, Eric, how about you, man?
Well, I'm a fan of the Bubblies, ever since, Michael Jackson's Thriller and stuff like that. I'm a sucker for those type of werewolf transformation. I've pretty much already said how much I think Rob Bottin's transformation scene is really, really good in this. And probably because, it's a little long, but I think that helps it. The fact that we get to see so much that's happening to, I can't think of the actor's name off the top of my head, the serial killer. We get to see his face, Eddie. Yeah. Again, like I said, the fingernails. That's the part I really love the most. You get to see, the claws coming out of the fingers, type of thing. So, I said it before. I said it again. It's hard to beat Rob Bottin, like Rick Baker, Stan Winston.
All right. Okay, Coriander, how about you?
So I don't like the bubblies in my wine, and I don't like it in my werewolves either. So definitely Silver Bullet.
Okay. All right. For me, again, and we did kind of talk about it a little bit, but I just think that I love the reverse transformation of Reverend Lowe at the end, and I was hoping that they would have done it, from man to wolf. I mean, they did a little bit of it when he faced off against the sheriff, when he faced off against John Locke. But and again, there's budget stuff going on and all of that, so I understand that. But I got to give the point to the Howling. I mean, again, Rob Bottin. It's just, I mean, look, it just showing how you're going from man to wolf. I just thought that was really cool. Yeah, it's a little bit of some different effects, but it is very similar to a certain other film. It's just a little bit of a different, a couple of different things that there was accentuated that Rob Bottin added. But I thought it was really good. So I'm going to go with the Howling on that. Okay, let's just go to the chat and let's see what's going on with these guys just to catch up a little bit. Derek is going with Uncle Red. Okay, very, very cool. Let's see. Russell is going with the Howling. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, Russell, the Howling is way behind, so he's gonna need some help. All right. And hey, we got Sir James in the house coming in with a super chat. $50 super chat, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Very cool. Hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah.
Saying sup gang, great picture, 25 for each movie. So you want to divide it? Wow. Okay. Now, just to say this, Sir James, are you sure well, no, I know, but I don't know if we've ever done that. You sure you want to divide it between the two films?
Or I think we have done that before. I think we have done that before.
Okay.
That's what he said, man.
Let me know, Sir James. I'm gonna play
each
super
movie.
Chat clip. I'm controlling this girl. I'm gonna play a super chat
just
clip.
Reading the damn comment.
Listen, hold on. Listen, let's do this because I know Troy loves this clip, and I think Sir James does too. Here we go with some creaminess.
But the cream, yeah, let me say it here. Let me say it out loud. Yeah, you mean Gene Okerlund. You know that I'm the cream. I am the cream, yeah.
All right. Here we go. All right, man. Sir James, thanks so much, man. We really appreciate you. Seriously. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well, man. Russell going with Eddie. Okay. He's a big fan of Eddie. All right.
He likes his Eddie.
Yep. Kay's in the house. Very cool. Hope you're doing well. Jeff is going with Silver Bullet. All right. Gets my love, Silver Bullet. Let's see. We got Jason in the house going with the Howling. What's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, man. All right. And Derek, oh yeah. All right. I am the cream. That's right, man. Okay, so let's do this. We have the transformation. Oops, wrong button. Let's go to our next category. You guys know how we do this. Kill. We're gonna step into the finale. The finale versus the finale. Who gets the point and why?
You know, I like the finale of both. But for me, I am gonna choose Silver Bullet. And the reasoning for that is to finally see, you know, the adult that's kind of on the fences to finally see, okay, is there something here? You know, we have the bullet, you know, we're going to use it and so forth. And to kind of just see that final showdown, because the difference between these two movies, you know, obviously there's a portion of the kind of the unknown and who done it in Silver Bullet, and to finally see someone other than these kids, especially Marty, to finally see what he's been telling us for half of a movie. Like, guys, you know, the sister believed him to a point, the uncle believed him to a point, but to finally see it and to see the best shot ever under pressure by a kid with no recoil, just a perfect, you got one chance. You know, he's probably never shot a gun in his entire life, but he was able to do it. He was able to put it in the chamber, have it right there. It's lined up. You don't gotta, you know, no click, oh, wrong one, no Russian roulette, just perfection. On a moving target, a giant moving target, but hey. And in the eye, bullseye. In the eye, like Loomis. Loomis is shooting Mr. Happy in the eyeball. All right. So hey, I'm sorry. So for me to finally see this battle finally culminate, that was the better ending for me. So
okay, all right, Eric, how about you?
I like them both for the most part. Like I really like how they escape the colony at the end. They blow up the barn. I mean, that's a really intense scene when they're in the car. And I mean, I've poked fun at it already. I don't like how Dee Wallace transforms, like how she looks, but the fact that they put that in the movie, like, no, okay, I'm going to do something to make you guys believe me. I like that. I just think the finale to Silver Bullet is better. I mean, there's stuff in that I don't like. Like the final line, I can not only say I love you, Marty. Good night. Is he dead? Like, how long in the future is she talking about Marty? You know, that's just kind of weird. But the whole conference, well, it is. You know, what does that mean when she tells him good night? Is she telling us good night?
I agree. That was kind of an interesting way or weird way to end it. Yeah.
But the final confrontation, not just, how Marty is a crack shot. I mean, he had practice with the fireworks. You know what I mean? Just Gary Busey getting tossed around. And that was really Gary Busey. That wasn't a stunt double. You know, the blood on his forehead was real. Him getting tossed around like a rag doll. That poor guy going through china cabinets and everything like that. It was more of, I guess you would say, a fun finale. And again, that kept with the tone of the film for me. So I got to go Silver Bullet. But I am definitely... Like I said, all jokes aside, I'm giving The Howling its props for a very good finale overall.
Okay, all right. Coriander, how about you?
Well, the finale to Silver Bullet, it was good. I did enjoy it. And The Howling, I mean, it was pretty good. And I mean, Dee, she looked pretty damn cute. Who wouldn't want to take her home, let her curl up in bed, and feed her some little treats, But yeah, I think I'm actually gonna go with Silver Bullet. So there you
go. Okay, all right. These finales are kind of different too, because one is one of them, what to expect. With Silver Bullet, the confrontation, that's what we expected, and that's what we got, and we know what the weapon is, the only weapon that they can use. With The Howling, I mean, it's so bonkers. It's like, what's going to happen? They want to make Dee Wallace as Karen. They want to make her a part of this colony. They're trying to build a community, which is, again, that's a really, it's an interesting thing to have in a movie. And I never really seen something like that before, where really that's the whole goal. It's not so much that I mean, they do kill, but they just want to have a community and survive in the modern day. And there's a little bit of this tug of war on the philosophies of, do we want to be hidden all the time, or do we want to just do what we do, and no matter what, whether humans know us or not, we're just going to thrive. So, with that finale in the barn scene, there was some really cool stuff. The scene in the car and them trying to escape, and the wolves attacking the car, I thought that was really good. And like you said, Eric, at the end, her going on national TV and trying to, rat everything out, that was interesting stuff. It was really good stuff. But I think that because with Silver Bullet, you have the whole family dynamic, and especially with Marty and Jane finally, facing this fear and having Uncle Red be there to help support them. It was just, it's almost like a superhero movie. This is that final level, that final boss. And I think it all worked out really well. I mean, the good night thing at the end was kind of weird, like you said, Eric, but I don't think it takes away too much for me. So I still think I'm going to edge it out to Silver Bullet on the finale. All right. Okay. Real quick too, in the chat, we got Troy coming in with a anniversary for being a channel member, 10 months. All right. Very cool. He said, I was summoned by an oh yeah, hell yeah, I love that clip. Yeah, you do, man. That's too funny. He was summoned by it. That was great. Good call, man. Thank you so much for that's so funny. Thank you so much for the support. All right. Let's see what else. Jamie saying, I'm going to be unusually negative and say that this wasn't the fairest fight. Oh, gosh. Oh, Jamie. Jeff saying Silver Bullet for the finale is struggling to get that bullet put in the gun at the end. A good ending. Okay. Brian going with Silver Bullet. Okay. Derek going with Silver Bullet. Let's see. Russell said the news lady turned into a werewolf. I know. Yep. Very cool. All right. And we'll catch up to the rest of you guys in a second. So let's go to our next category, which is the final category, which is our choose category. And this will be the last one. If you do wish to send in the super chat to have the points count, this will be the final opportunity. Once we're finished this, we can't accept any more points. I'm just saying that we've had that happen before. So if you want to send a super chat to help out one of these films, this is the time to do it. Especially you guys that are the Howling fans. This is the last category, and we're going to start it off right now. Kill. Who gets the point and why?
I do like both of these movies. The Howling franchise is not one of my favorite franchises. There's peaks and valleys there, but this is a good movie. I have not watched Silver Bullet in at least 20 years, and rewatching this movie, I felt like a kid again. It's such a fun ride. The adventure is there, the whimsy is there, and like I said, if you take some of the gore out, it feels like it's Robert Zemeckis or Steven Spielberg. So right there with those layers of seeing, a good old-fashioned kid-driven 80s adventure movie that has horror elements and gore in it, that's a perfect combination. So I got to go Silver Bullet.
Okay, all right, Eric, how about you?
Silver Bullet, easy. Yeah, again, it's a fun werewolf movie. It's not just a fun werewolf movie, it's a fun movie in general. You know what I mean? And it is a product of its time, and you feel like Kill said, you can watch it, 20 years later, and you get kind of transported back into that time. I've only watched The Howling a few times, like less than a handful. I'm not really a fan. I'm warming up to it. You know what I mean? With each watch that has happened with me on this channel with certain movies. Joe Dante is my favorite director, but so far this is the only movie of his that I'm not a fan of. I may be with another rewatch, but there's some good things in it. but for me, it's just so spread out. Lots of times I'm just kind of losing interest, and it's hard for me to stay focused, at least on this movie, like, because the tone's so all over the place. So 100% Silver Bullet.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
The Howling's okay. I love that Dee Wallace is in it. But I'm with you two. I have to go with Silver Bullet. Um, it's a fun movie. Like they said, it brings you back to, when you were a kid, and who doesn't like that? So especially, when you get old. So definitely I am choosing Silver Bullet.
Okay. All right. For me, I actually enjoy both of these films, and it's really interesting because The Howling, I actually probably, well, I know I've watched more over the years, more so as an adult. I saw both of these as a kid, and The Howling creeped me out a lot back then. And Silver Bullet, obviously, it's got its moments, but it's more of a fun movie, more of an adventure type of feeling to it, to some degree, being especially Stephen King. But it's interesting, for the rewatch for this episode, I was, and I was saying this to Coriander, I was really shocked, not so much shocked, but more amazed and actually really happy to reconnect with Silver Bullet because I hadn't seen it in a little while. We did do a watch party for it. I think it was a couple years ago. But anyways, point being is that, I was watching it to absorb it for this, and I was enjoying it so much, and it was one of those things where it was like almost like a reconnection. It has so many great aspects to it, but most notably the heart. It has so much heart to it. Like you just can't help but enjoy that. And it's such a product of his time, like 1985. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, it's like, could they, and I know it's a different period of time now, but I was thinking to myself, if a movie like this came out today, with a lot of heart like that and so forth, I wonder how it would be taken by horror fans. It's really interesting thoughts that came into my mind, and I'm probably going to explore, more and maybe some uploaded content that I do. But anyways, I'm going to give the point to Silver Bullet because of that. And again, it's one of those things where when I was watching it, it was just so many things going on. And that's coming from someone that, I really do enjoy The Howling. I really do. But I think I'm just going to edge this one out to Silver Bullet. All right. Very, very cool. Just to catch up in the chat, Motorcycle saying Uncle Red has the trump card to his sister now. I went toe to toe with a werewolf for your kids. Well, there you go. That's true. Let's see. Zeducation saying, Night, do you have any old camera equipment? Anything you have you don't need to donate to help me make my channel better? I wish I could say I do, but everything that I've got is what I use. And trust me, I have nothing extra with the amount that the resources put into things. But if you do have questions about it, throw me a comment or something. I could give you some tips, some things that I've done to help try to cut corners, because you really do have to. There's so much that goes into doing a channel live stream. You got to pay for your editing software, your streaming. It's tons of stuff. It's crazy. All right. Brian's going with Silver Bullet. Paul is going with The Howling. Motorcycle's going with Silver Bullet. All right. Let's see. Jeff, Emery, I'm sorry, in the chat. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Saying the intelligent and stimulating conversation. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. We appreciate that. And I think I'm all caught up. Mark's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you too. Night Shilling for The Howling. Well, I'm just giving credit to it. I'm just giving credit because I do enjoy it quite a bit. But when you go with categories, sometimes you just got to go with what you feel is right. So that's just me just trying to explain on both sides of it. So Rachel's in the house. What's going on, Rachel? Hope you're doing well. All right. Let's see. And I think I'm caught up. Okay. So, and Kay's going with Silver Bullet. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. All right. let's do this, man. Let's do our recap. I'm going to count up the points, and Kill, we'll start with you. We'll have you guys just give us a recap of what we went through tonight, and then we'll see what we got.
Okay. I mean, here you have two classic werewolf movies, both doing something, drastically different. With Silver Bullet, you kind of have that 80s adventure film, where I think they could make it. I think they could make it. Just don't cast every 80s type movie with somebody from Stranger Things. There's other young actors. But they definitely could kind of remake this or reimagine it for a newer audience with better special effects, less wear bear. I think it would be awesome. But the linchpin was you gotta have that adult actor that can be a great uncle type character. And don't keep using Ant-Man for everything. There's other great actors that could be that cool uncle type figure. Shouts out to the Ghostbusters movies, the new ones, but these are two good werewolf movies. And if you're a fan of werewolf movies, which we really don't get that many of nowadays, you can't go wrong with these. The Howling series, like I said, is peaks and valleys, but this one is not bad for what they were doing. So
first off, I'll say there's no shilling or favoritism in these battle worlds. It's just how the categories are. You know what I mean? Because the only time we ever show favoritism is literally during the choose category, because we get to pick, which one we want, to get the point. So that now was saying I really liked tonight because these are two products of their time, werewolf films, which do, they have some good to it, but they also have that 80s cheese to it. And that's what I like, sometimes a little bit of cheese makes everything better. You know what I mean? Cheeseburgers are better than hamburgers. You know what I mean? And both of these movies have it. Overall, Silver Bullet, Stephen King's hit and miss with a lot of his adaptations, but this is a fun one. It might not be technically, with effects and stuff, like the best one, but when it comes to the family dynamic, the characters, it's one of the best ones. Take out the dramas like Stand By Me and stuff, like the horror ones. It's hard to find those characters that you want to root for in the end. And what's great is the characters you're rooting for live. All three of those, Uncle Red and the two kids, they live in the end. And that's a great thing to see with a Stephen King movie, because usually everybody dies. The Howling, it's what I like about Battle World is it makes me, and that's why I always say there's pretty much no film I won't watch for Battle World, because it also forces me to revisit a movie I didn't like the last time I watched it. Wasn't a big fan of Ginger Snaps. I liked it better the last time we discussed it. Same with It Follows. I was not a fan of It Follows, but when Kill picked It Follows, I could sit down and watch it in a different light, and I enjoyed it a lot more. And even though I'm still not really saying I'm on the Howling side, I could appreciate it more than the last time, because I probably would have never revisited it. So I'm glad it was chosen. Two fun werewolf films overall. But I'm so glad, every time we do Stephen King, I have a little bit more, pump in my step, because I love his adaptations, even the cheesy ones, especially in the 80s, so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, so y'all know I enjoy Silver Bullet. The Howling, An American Werewolf in London is like my werewolf movie, where The Howling is a lot of people's werewolf movies. So, I mean, I can appreciate it for what it is, and I can not appreciate it for what it kind of did, So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. All right. Okay. So real quick, in the chat too, just to catch up, Jeff is gifting another membership, man. So thank you so much, Jeff. We appreciate that. Definitely helps us out. And man, so generous. Looks like it went to Derek. All right. So that's really cool. Definitely give a shout out to Jeff. It's beyond kind, and we really appreciate that. It helps to strengthen up the community, build the community. What was that, Eric?
Oh no, I was saying I saw it was Derek. I was happy it was for my buddy.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much, Jeff, though. Seriously, that means
Yeah.
a lot. Seriously. And welcome, Derek. Okay. All right. So just to put up our scores. So we have a final, let me just pull this up here. We have a final score tally of 57 to 89. And the
Wow.
winner, I mean, you guys already figured this thing out.
Yeah.
It is Silver Bullet by a landslide.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
All
awesome.
right.
Who would have thought? Who would have
Well,
thought, you know?
Honestly,
okay.
honestly, just because I'm not a fan of the Howling, I know there are a lot of fans out there, so I'm actually a little surprised.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I actually
Well,
am a
I'm a
hey,
little surprised.
it is what it is, man.
Mhm.
It is what it is. For you guys in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate that. Seriously, it makes it so much fun for us. And also, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps to support the channel and also gets the stream out to other fans of these two 80s werewolf films. Also, if Hops in the chat, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you. He says, what? No way. Oh, it's definitely way. It definitely happened. Check out the replay if you're just jumping in, man. But appreciate you coming here. But for you guys here, also, we couldn't get to everyone's comment, but definitely leave us a comment in the comment section. We can continue the conversation there as a community, which is always fun. Julie's got Eric's link in the chat again.
Thank
So
you.
make sure you guys go to his channel and support him, subscribe. We also have the link of his channel in the description of all of our Battle World episodes and so many other streams throughout the channel. So make sure you guys do that. That would be
Appreciate it.
awesome. And yeah, absolutely, man. And Jamie, it's okay. It's all right. I know. She's like, I want to be on the panel. Thank you, Julie, for the reminder. We appreciate that too, man. Seriously. You're awesome. The historian herself. Okay, so we will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And as always, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Cheers.
Up,